doesn't agree with that interpretation of the law as we passed. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Husted.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Commissioner Lucas, I understand you're a native of Strongsville, Ohio, so I know the people there are very proud of your work. And so it made me think to have to ask you an Ohio question, because recently in the Ames versus the Ohio Department of Youth Services, the Supreme Court said on a 9-0 decision that a heterosexual employee from Ohio's Department of Youth Services alleged she was passed over for promotion and later demoted based on her sexual orientation in favor of LGBTQ plus colleagues. She sued under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which bars employment discrimination. As a result of that ruling by the court, how does that affect the activities of the EEOC?
Thank you so much for that question, Senator, and it's great to be with a fellow Ohioan. That is a great question, and I think it's so important to note that Ames actually just further reinforces positions, unanimous positions, that the Commission has taken for 50-plus years. As you noted, that decision was 9-0, and it was written by Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, sometimes regarded as the most liberal member of the court, and yet it is clear that it is a unanimous bedrock principle that our civil rights laws are colorblind. So I would say that it only reinforces the long-standing work the Commission has been doing. It doesn't change our work. The Commission, and I was proud to sign on to this unanimous bipartisan amicus brief in the Supreme Court on the merits of that, joined by, again, the Biden administration Civil Rights Department, that everyone on both sides understood that no matter your sex or your race, that you should be treated equally and even-handedly by our civil rights laws. So we're just going to charge further and faster forward on that long-standing principle of civil rights law following Ames.
Great. Well, thank you. I'm sure that there will be some updating of guidance and things like that from the EEOC based on that ruling. Is that correct?
We don't currently have a quorum, Senator, and we look forward to, if I have the privilege of being reconfirmed and if I have an additional colleague so that we can have a third member of the Commission, being able to move forward. But we'll continue to issue technical assistance documents, which are unanimous restatements of longstanding principles. We've already done some of that work. We released with the Department of Justice a one-pager educating individuals where DEI can lead to unlawful race or sex discrimination. The Ames decision fits perfectly into that existing document, and we issued a longer Q&A document to help employers understand their rights and responsibility in that space.
Great. Thank you. Mr. D'Esposito, want to quickly try to get to a couple questions for you on the issue of how we are handling labor issues regarding human trafficking and the role of illegal immigration in the workplace, and how, in many cases, it is in the workplace that a lot of human trafficking is occurring. Is there a role for Department of Labor in stepping up efforts on looking at how illegal activities from people who are in this country illegally and conducting human trafficking, is there a role for you to improve our labor conditions around those issues?
Well, thank you very much for the question, Senator, for the opportunity. And I think that the Labor Office of Inspector General has a huge presence in human and child trafficking. And recently I've been criticized for talking about President Trump's belief in that this is the golden age of the American worker. And I think that that term, golden age of the American worker, is not a Republican term or a Democrat term. Quite frankly, it should be an American term. And in order for this to be that golden age and to give the American worker fair wages, to make sure that the American worker has safe working conditions, to make sure that our own American children aren't getting tied up in this exploitation of labor trafficking, it is essential that the Office of Inspector General, like I mentioned in my remarks to the chairman, that we begin to work even harder to embed ourselves into local and state authorities, to work with our other federal partners to pinpoint locations throughout this country. It could be in communities that you represent, that unfortunately it's a small local police department that doesn't have the ability to address these issues. And that's what the Office of the Inspector General should do. And that's one of the reasons as to why in the beginning, if confirmed, I would love to travel to all the regional offices and hear from the men and women on the ground and what they're dealing with in this scope of human trafficking so that we can pinpoint resources and make this country safer for the American worker.
Great. Thank you both. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Senator Baldwin.